Jackson County voters showed up at the polls in a big way, striking out a plan to bring the Kansas City Royals to the crossroads. Voters soundly defeated a 40-year renewal of a stadium sales tax, money that would have gone to a new ballpark and renovations at Arrowhead. 58% said no. That's more than 78,000 voters, enough to fill Kauffman Stadium more than 2 times over. Community groups and many people and business owners with vested interests in the crossroads applauded the results, calling the team's plans for the future rushed and incomplete.
We were confident that we had done a good enough job against a $3 million ad campaign to get the truth out and to get our community to understand that we needed more time and that this agreement was not being negotiated in good faith.
Then you had the other side of the debate, the yes crowd, with Chiefs and Royals leadership stunned by their strikeout.
We feel we put forth the best offer for Jackson County, and we were ready to extend the long-standing partnership that the teams have enjoyed with this county.
We will take some time to reflect on and process the outcome and find a path forward that works for the Royals and our fans.
What will that path be? What's next? That's the question, isn't it? Voters will now have to see if they've called a multi-billion-dollar bluff, all while local leaders scramble to secure the future of the teams and their revenue for the years to come. Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas made it clear he will work to keep the Chiefs and Royals in KC and says he understands the frustration from voters about the Royals' plans for a downtown ballpark.
We heard a lot of voters who have asked questions about why downtown and why where you are downtown. So to me, the answer isn't necessarily that you just say, all right, we're just going to pick a different spot somewhere and foist that upon people. But instead, it is to say, maybe there's a conversation that needs to be had.
But now the floodgates are opening, with other counties and cities, even states, having their own conversations, working behind the scenes to woo the teams to their turf. Here to analyze the vote and the possibilities that lie ahead, please welcome back KMBC 9 political reporter Michael Mahoney. Okay, Mahoney, first off, let's talk about what went wrong. It feels like a lot. An overwhelming number of voters told us they had problems with the messaging, especially with the Royals, calling the lack of transparency in this. Just basically, this whole thing was clear as mud.
Yeah, the Royals campaign, and in particular, but the entire Yes campaign was pretty clumsy in my mind. They changed the location late. They made an adjustment on Oak Street late. They missed their own deadline for announcing a site that was supposed to happen last fall. It didn't happen at that time. All those things contributed to a skepticism, I think, in the voters' minds about whether or not this was the right plan at the right place. The change down to the crossroads alienated a lot of people that I think would have been expected to be supporters of a downtown ballpark, but they didn't want it in their neighborhood. So sticking it in the crossroads made a downtown group opposed to a downtown ballpark. There was a very effective opposition campaign. The Kansas City Tenants Association was a part of that. Show Me Missouri was another part of that. The Show Me Institute was another part of that. And then the turnout on this was exceptionally large for a spring election.
That surprised you?
Yeah, very much so, in the fact that it was just emblematic of how important this issue was to voters in Jackson County and in Kansas City. And I don't think anybody, Cody, expected this to be a 16-point blowout.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody saw that.
We talk about the teams going back to the drawing board. Do they take that into consideration, this margin and the turnout here? Because obviously they were motivating factors to get people out.
They'd be fools not to. I think that the Crossroads project is dead. I think there's going to be an effort by some to try and reinvigorate the East Village project. And other jurisdictions, political jurisdictions, are coming online, and they're going to have a second bite at the apple. So there are now lots of moving parts on this thing, lots of them.
And lots of people interested in where these billion-dollar teams go.
Sure.
We talk about counties and cities and states courting these teams. Mayor Lucas last week seemed to think that the border war truce struck between Kansas and Missouri a couple years back would prevent the teams from moving states. But remember what Governor Laura Kelly said in 2022. This was her talking about the possibility of bringing the Chiefs to Kansas.
I would be all for it, obviously. I mean, when I signed the border war truce with Missouri, it didn't include the Chiefs.
Will we see a rekindled border war over this? They have sports betting in Kansas, and they're going to have incentives. You know they would.
You know, and I think when she said that at an Axe the Tax news conference over in Topeka a couple of years ago, it was probably said largely in jest because none of these dynamics were in play. But the fact remains is that in Kansas they have a very different funding mechanism for sports. They could use their star bonds and finance some of the money, a lot of the money that they would need to bring a team over and build a stadium. Plus, they do have sports betting in Kansas, and 80% of that money goes into a fund to attract a pro sports team. Now, there's not a lot of money in that fund right now, so it's not like it's a king's ransom in there, but they've got a couple opportunities in there, and it appears that with even the 24 hours after this this vote last week, there were rumblings and moves in over in Topeka and across the state line in Kansas to start pressing the issue.
It's by no means a dead issue, so we'll be watching this for a while. Yeah, Mike Mahoney, thanks for your perspective. You can count on KMBC 9 News for continuing coverage of the future of the stadiums. We're bringing you updates on potential new plans for the Royals and Chiefs on air and online at KMBC.com.